Hello and welcome to another episode of Consensus with Canonizer. We have gathered the Canonizer Council here to give the final word on everything. We have Brent Alsop here. Brent, how are you?
Good.
And we also have Not an Expert 2, our anonymous but brilliant contributor. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you so much. That was.
Sounds good. Well, so as we are recording this, the weather has turned and it is chilly outside. I'm wearing my lovely sweatshirt here as I walk my dog. And I know you're not supposed to say that weather is the same thing as climate, but whenever this happens, I always think, I live in Utah. Brent, you live in Utah. Not an expert, you don't, but it gets cold where you are, does it not?
Yes, it is very cold here as well.
So whenever this happens, I always think global warming. Really, I really could use a little more global warming right about now. But global warming is a topic that is consistently brought up in every sort of political context. It's not getting a whole lot of focus at the moment, but the president believes that it's a hoax, that it's nonsense, and so I'm very curious. Canonizer has a topic about this that has been around for a while, and I'm going to try to share it here on the screen. But Brent, as I'm doing that, can you talk to me about how you feel about global warming, what your position on it is?
Yeah, I think, AGW, which is anthropomorphic global warming, which means global warming is caused by humans. And I think I'm in the camp that says that is real. Anthropomorphic global warming is occurring, caused by humans. And but I'm in the camp that number one, I think global warming is a good thing. It'd be really nice if there wasn't so much ice on the polar caps, and more life could be up there if it wasn't so cold. And also, I think everyone talks about in 50 years it's going to be too late to do anything, but I think that's always linear thinking. And if you project linearly into the future, that's what it seems like. But they're not taking into account exponential progress. And so, for example, I think we'll be terraforming Mars, creating an atmosphere on Mars, and a little bit of CO2 in Earth's environment will be easy to control. We'll be able to manipulate it. And for example, we'll be able to bioengineer an algae that can control CO2, either consume it or release it, and just turn that loose on the ocean, and it'll be easy to control things like that. But anyway, that's my personal feeling. And yeah, you can see the tree structure there. The AGW is real. That's the real camp. And then there's an inconvenient truth, which is what's his name?
Al Gore. Uh-huh.
Al Gore. Yeah, that's Al Gore's camp, and that's the consensus camp. There are 6 people in that camp. And then there's the AGW is real, but it's not critical. That's kind of the camp I'm in. But then there's the not evil, just wrong camp, which basically says, yeah, global warming is a good thing. We could use more, and CO2 as a fertilizer to help trees grow and stuff like that. And also then there's my camp that says terraforming will be easy there. And then there's the related camp, ocean acidification. That is kind of a scary thing, because as the temperature warms, it acidifies the ocean, kills, and he thinks that's the supporter of that camp thinks that's the most important thing, that we're losing the corals because the ocean is getting acidified. Yeah, the ocean. Yeah.
Well, talk to me about terraforming being easy. Do we have any evidence that that's the case, or you're just assuming that humanity is innovative enough that we're going to finally come up with these kinds of solutions?
For me, the evidence is you show the exponential progress over the last, since it started with evolution millions of years ago, there's been everything thrown at that progress, everything from asteroids to global warming type stuff, and Earth always finds a way to continue the exponential progress and push through those things, and nothing can stop. Nothing has been able to stop that for billions of years, and we're at the top pinnacle. We're on the verge of being able to solve all these problems. And he talks about the singularity, the year in 2050. And once the singularity, we essentially become gods and can do pretty much engineer ourselves out of any problem. And so it's the historical evidence for me.
So my thought like on terraforming. So is it like it looks like science fiction for me as of now because
Right.
Earth is big, right? So we can't terraform. Like terraforming is like you talk about capturing the CO2 or reflecting the sunlight. So that is
Right.
very limited as of now, right? So we can't cover that
Yeah.
whole Earth, right? Whole world is not
Right.
right. So I think it is as of now it's a sci-fi thing we have. It's good. We can use that technique on Mars or maybe any other planet. But thing is, if you consider the current threats, right? So the global warming is causing. One is the adverse effect on the weather patterns. So we see large number of cyclones, change in
Yeah.
weather,
Yeah.
extreme weather events are happening, which are
Yeah. That's
not
true.
good, just not for the human life, but also the other life as well, right? I mean, the
Yeah. That's true.
animals,
Good
the
point.
sea creatures, and all those, right? So just consider about the wildfire in the California or maybe
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Utah one, right? There was a big wildfire was going
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
month. It caused
Mhm.
like huge damage to environment, right? So I am thinking about global warming is as of now not good, which is needs to be treated in like very well manners, right? So we have to terraform basically. We have to do the measures which take those things like greenhouse effect
Right.
and the other activities, right? So yeah, I think in that way basically. So maybe I will choose a camp which reflect my thinking on the global
Yeah.
warming
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's
That
not
makes
just
sense.
not for small area. If we think about Earth, okay, as a measure, then it's a big thing, right? We can't
Yeah.
terraform. We will not have that technology. I don't know, next 100 years as well.
Right. Yeah. That could be true.
Yeah.
Well, so I've spent an awful lot of time in politics. When my father was in the United States Senate, global warming was a huge issue. He left the Senate in 2010, so it's been quite a while. But one of the things that always frustrated me in any political discussion about global warming is that even if you accept the most extremist, alarmist position on global warming, that it's going to end the world, that it's terrible, that it's awful, the question that I end up asking is, okay, well, what do you want to do about it? Because all of the solutions to global warming that have been proposed are wildly expensive and don't do anything. When we talk about cutting carbon emissions, when we talk about creating all of the things, the Paris Climate Accords, you ask, okay, how much is this going to lower global temperatures? And the answer is it's not going to lower global temperatures. It's going to slow the growth of global temperatures by an infinitesimal amount. And it's going to cost trillions of dollars to do.
Correct.
And so I say, okay, well, so these are symbolic gestures. And when you point that out to a lot of the global warming alarmists, they say, well, it's a good first step. And you say, okay, well, if it's a good first step, so you're conceding, first of all, it isn't doing anything on its own. And second of all, what's the next step? I mean, we can cut our carbon emissions to zero and we're still going to see temperatures rise. So what's the frickin' point? I just don't understand the kind of expensive symbolic approach to this that doesn't actually solve anything. So, looking at these camps, Brent, I think that I'm somewhere in between. I mean, I believe AGW is real. I believe we are contributing to a warmer climate. A few questions that aren't asked very often is what is the ideal climate?
Yeah, that's good.
Because because as you point out, the climate, as the agreement camp here says, the climate on planet Earth is always in a state of change, and there have been times in the history of the world where the climate has been significantly warmer than it is now, and there's been an ice age where the climate is significantly colder than it is now. When I was growing up, do you remember the old TV series In Search of?
But I remember everyone thought there was a new ice age coming.
Yeah,
and everyone was afraid of that.
In Search of was a sort of documentary TV series hosted by Leonard Nimoy of Spock fame. And I remember watching the episode as a kid, In Search of a New Ice Age, and it pointing out that the new ice age is just on the horizon and we're all doomed.
Yeah.
Well, now.
Yeah, but again, that will be how more time, right? So it's on horizon, but compared to the the time duration, thousands of years, right? So we still have few hundred years for that ice age to come.
Well, but the thing is, those ice ages came and went without really any significant human contribution. The last ice age ended before the Industrial Revolution, before we started spewing all kinds of stuff into the air. And now they're talking about the idea that some of the things that are causing global warming are beef farming, cows, particularly cow farts. That there's just too much. I mean, you just start talking about this and you go, really, are you really so arrogant to believe that we have the capacity to manage and micromanage climatic activity? Because the climate has gone through all kinds of changes. And the other thing is that warmer climates, to a large degree, are much healthier to human life than colder climates are. An ice age would be devastating. Global warming, as far as we understand it, means longer growing seasons, means more fertile ground. The reason Greenland has its name is that at one point it was green. And right now it's ice, whereas Iceland, which has the name Iceland, is actually green. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But the difficulty with global warming is that we never really challenge the assumptions behind it. We never challenge, okay, is the climate target we're aiming for the right one? Is what we're doing going to have any impact on the climate? I mean, just on and on.
Good point.
We keep asking the question, is global warming real? And that's almost an insignificant question in my mind.
Yes. And then one more thing, right, regarding Brent talked about the ice on the polar caps is melting, which can help for the more life and all those things. But again, that will have some adverse effect, because if more ice is turning into water, then sea level increases. More cities, more land will be gone under the water. So if you think that there is a land coming up which is good for life, but then it is getting the other land inside the ocean, right? So I mean, so these things are there. While I will consider as a global warming, and I agree with some thoughts of Jim as well.
Yeah.
Well, so Brent, are you of the opinion that terraforming Mars is going to be easy?
it'll be possible. We'll have technology, automated robots and stuff like that, and engineered life that will make it possible. It won't be easy, but once we do it, then I mean, everything's hard until you can do it, and then it's easy.
Yes.
So
Right.
so
So
that's
I a little bit I'm agree with Brent. If we have the technology, we can get the robots. Though those robots won't need any oxygen or anything to live on Mars, right? So they keep
right.
building the Mars, terraforming the Mars, like make it 50 years, and then like human being can go there and
Right.
then like settle down there. So that can happen, but that like will take some time, at least like
Yeah.
more 40-50 years, and then people will
Yeah.
start sending all the missions to the Mars then.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Good point.
Even there are like other planets, right? So recently I was checking NASA website, the Titan, basically Saturn's moon, one of
Titan.
the
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Titan, right? So they sent a probe from the Cassini, right? And that probe
Yeah.
was like having video shooting while it's going down, splashed down. And
Right.
I saw it's completely similar to Earth. All the
Yeah.
surfaces, like the mountains, highlands, everything similar to, and there are like
Wow.
rocks as well on the ground. So
Wow.
it is possible to have because Mars is like having more of like adverse weather, but the planets like Titan or maybe the other moons, right? So they have
Right.
some like easy ways to terraform, basically, because
Mm.
they
Cool.
already have methane and all those things. So I agree with Brent for the terraforming the but again, I will not agree that we research on terraforming by this global warming to get it.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Well, it's really kind of frustrating that um, the the political football is such that global warming, we can't really have a discussion about global warming that isn't focused on politics and on all these kinds of things uh, that really have absolutely no impact on any effort we do to control the climate. Everything is seen through a political and a partisan lens.
Mm.
And so if this is one of the reasons why I think Canonizer can be such a valuable tool in this kind of a discussion, because the focus needs to be on the data and the focus needs to be on the facts on the ground. And I can't remember a public discussion on global warming that has done that. Every public discussion on global warming has been focused on the political impact and then sort of the partisan and tribal
Mm.
tribal implications. Am I missing something? Is anybody
No,
else
yeah, that
experienced
makes
that?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think the challenge that we have as individuals and as a nation is trying to figure out how to build consensus, not just here in the United States, but with the world at large. Because the
Yep.
things that we propose to do with regard to global warming are only within the boundaries of our own country. And so when you look at what China is doing, what India is doing, what a lot of the developing world is doing, we can cut United States carbon emissions to nothing, and that's not going to change what China is doing. It's not going to change, and I don't know that it should, because one of the problems with global warming and a lot of the carbon emissions caps is that what we're essentially saying to the world at large is, hey, we've got ours and you don't get to get yours. Because the people that burn the most fossil fuels and probably the least clean fossil fuels are the developing nations that are trying to bring themselves up out of poverty. They don't have the kind of technology that we have access to in the United States necessarily. And so they're burning coal and they're burning fossil fuels in order to be able to industrialize and develop their economies so that they can raise their standard of living. And when we come to them and say, okay, well, global warming is so dangerous that you can't do that anymore, we're essentially condemning them to poverty. And so every one of these kinds of things with regard to global warming, and again, this is one of the reasons why Canonizer can be so helpful, is that every time you're dealing with an issue like this, you're talking about trade-offs. There is no one thing that you do that doesn't have positive and negative impacts. I mean, we could cut carbon emissions to zero, and that would be devastating. It's, we can cut speed limits to zero and say nobody can drive cars anymore. And won't that be great because there'll be no more car accidents? Well, it will also completely shut down the world's economy and drive people into poverty. Everything is a trade-off. Everything is a challenge. How much risk, how much damage is acceptable? And so in doing that with global warming, it becomes very easy, at least in my mind, to say, look, the amount of expense that we are paying for no result or for minuscule results in lowering global temperatures is not a trade-off that is worth it. And it's not worth keeping people in poverty to be able to do that. The other thing, my belief with regard to global warming, and I think it's fairly similar to what you've talked about, Brent, is that technology is going to save us as a matter of course, not necessarily as a matter of, we sit down and go, okay, well, what's the technology that's going to save us from global warming? I think as soon as we create fusion energy, the profit motive will drive people towards that, to the point where we're not going to be burning fossil fuels anymore. Not because we're good people. I wish it were nice if we were just good and everything. Altruism is what would save us. But technology has been driven by profit and been driven by selfishness to some degree.
Yes.
But the end result is a benefit to everybody. I have an electric car now, for instance.
Yeah.
And I never thought, okay, well, I'm going to buy an electric car because I want to save the planet. It was, geez, this electric car costs less than a gas-powered car, and I'm saving a truckload of money because I don't have to gas this thing up, and I get better mileage, and it's, and so I'm doing good for the environment almost in spite of myself, if that makes any sense.
Yes, that makes sense. So it is selfish thing. We are contributing. Okay, while you're talking, I got a thought, just not relative to whatever you're talking. What about Earth, which is terraformed by someone, and then we are here?
Yeah.
What if we were terraformed by someone, by aliens, you mean?
Yeah, some aliens. Yeah, there's a bunch of sci-fi movies where aliens come and
so like maybe
Earth
millions of years ago, aliens came, they terraformed the Earth, and then they left few human beings there, and then all this started.
Yeah.
Well, there's an article out there that there's a scientist who believes that a comet that right now is in its orbit on the other side of the sun is actually... Yeah, you're familiar with that one?
Yeah.
He thinks it's a spaceship and they're coming to get us?
Yes, they think. There are a lot of theories coming around that comet, basically.
Well, I just think if the world's going to end, now's as good a time as any,
So Jim, like there is a theory about ice age, world is going to end. So in Indian mythology, they call it as a Kali Yuga. Okay, so Kali Yuga is end of everything. So all the bad things will start happening, and then the this era will end. So we will start anew. So like after ice age, right? Same thing. So in Indian mythology, they call it as a Kali Yuga, which is the last generation of this, and then it will go away, something like that.
Well, so how much stock do you place in that theory?
I don't know. I don't have much research on that. Even to be frank, on the Ice Age and all those things as well. I don't have that much research, or I haven't read any like much of the articles basically. But
Well,
those are theories there, like from ancient times. So this will come, and then we will all go away, and then it will start again, fresh start.
Mm,
well, that's there are plenty of Christians who look at global warming as a sign of the apocalypse that's impending.
mm,
Correct.
You know,
Apocalypse.
I mean, you have all kinds of theological and mythological approaches to this that try to make sense of it. And the world has been ending since the day I was born and long
yeah,
before it.
yep.
You know, there's a website out there that you can enter your date of birth, and it will tell you how many apocalypses you have survived, how many predicted apocalypses you have survived. Because
Yeah, I should look that up.
I think it was just this last May that the rapture was supposed to have happened,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't
Again.
know. Again, you know, on over and over. So I don't know if Canonizer can be helpful in terms of predicting when the end of the world will be or when Jesus is going to come back. Do we have a
Yeah.
topic as to when Jesus is coming back?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, we could build
Yeah, we should
consensus around.
Yeah, we should create one of those.
Yeah, if we have enough consensus, then Jesus will have no choice but to come back, right?
We'll resurrect him.
Well,
It's up
there
to
you
us
go.
to resurrect him.
Well, I mean, you're of the opinion that we're going to end up resurrecting everybody.
Yep,
I mean,
yep,
using science.
yep.
So same thing, right? Like the theory, Jesus is coming back. So when there will be an apocalypse, when there will be a end of the world, and then Jesus will come back, and it will start. He will start like they will start the new life on earth and all those things, right?
Right, the
So
millennium,
so
the start of the
yeah,
millennium.
the new millennium, right? So that same theory, every religion having like similar theories. So in my religion, they call it as a Kalki is one of the avatar, I will say, of the god,
Huh.
and
Uh-huh.
who will destroy the bad and will start the like new
Oh,
millennium, right?
wow.
So I read
Wow,
about
interesting.
all those things in other religions as well. So if I go to the Chinese, I go to the Japanese, I go to the Egyptian, American.
Mm,
So everyone having same theory. So it is
interesting.
based
Yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
something, right? So it's like no one can't be on same page at the same time. So it should be
Interesting.
somewhere connected to the aliens or to the like previous generations, right?
Wow, yeah, that's really interesting that all the religions have the same kind of idea.
Yes.
I mean that's Carl Jung's idea of the collective unconscious.
Hmm.
Correct.
That it manifests itself according to your tribal traditions, according to
Hmm.
your background, and all those kinds of things.
Hmm.
And interesting thing, like off the topic, it's not about global warming, but again coming back to the aliens and all those things, all the religions. So if you see all the religions, they're gods, right? So those gods having superpowers. So in my
Hmm.
mythology or my religion, there are like hundreds of god who is having
Hmm.
8 hands, who is having 9 heads, or who is having some extra powers. Okay, so what can be those those can be the aliens, right? I mean,
Right.
how we imagine the aliens, something similar.
Yeah.
And like my ancient, they think that these are the powerful gods came from outside and they started the
Interesting.
earth. And same theory is in all the religions. So Jesus is there, he's like they're having
Yeah.
all the superpowers, superful powers. So in Chinese, in Egyptian, everything they have same thing. So no god is looks like a human being, everyone having all the
Right.
powers, different shapes, different structures.
Interesting. Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
interesting.
and
So
that's very
so
interesting.
not
Yeah, yeah.
only so not only have we solved the global warming problem, we have now defined the nature of God.
Yeah.
That shows you
Yes.
the effectiveness of Canonizer. and what we're able to do. Obviously, I'm being somewhat facetious here, but
it's cool.
we invite everybody who is watching to go to this camp or go to this topic. I'm sorry, and determine which camp represents your point of view. If you do not see a camp that represents your point of view, please feel free to create a camp of your own, or you can join a camp and modify it to the point where you think you're building the kind of consensus and that everybody else in the camp can agree with. But we invite you to come to canonizer.com and join the discussion.
Yes,
does anybody have any parting thoughts as we bring this episode to an end?
We got a topic for next podcast.
Yeah, God, yes.
God, yeah, there you go.
Or when will Jesus be coming back?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I think it's going to be fun.
Yes.
So, all right.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks you both, and we'll see you all next time on Consensus with Canonizer.